Isabella Cruz walked through the grand entrance of Torres Enterprises, carrying a beautiful arrangement of white roses and delicate baby's breath, genuine happiness evident in her warm smile as she balanced the bouquet carefully alongside her usual morning paperwork. She had worked as Rafael Torres's personal assistant for exactly 2 years now, managing his demanding schedule with practiced, professional efficiency despite the considerable complications inherent in serving one of the city's most powerful, dangerous mafia bosses. Rafael Torres had built his organization through decades of calculated, disciplined leadership, commanding absolute respect and considerable fear throughout the city's criminal underworld. At 38 years old, he maintained careful, controlled composure in virtually every circumstance, rarely allowing genuine emotion to interfere with his methodical, strategic decision-making. That careful composure shattered completely the moment he glanced up from his morning correspondence to witness Isabella entering their shared office space, the beautiful bouquet immediately capturing his sharp, assessing attention. "Who sent you flowers?" Rafael asked, his voice carrying considerably more intensity than the simple question typically warranted. Genuine surprise evident in his own reaction, even as he processed his unexpected, sudden curiosity. Isabella looked up, genuine confusion evident at his unusually sharp tone. "Good morning to you too," she said, genuine amusement evident despite his obvious tension. "My sister sent them, actually. Today's the anniversary of our mother's passing, and she always sends flowers to remind me she's thinking of me." Something shifted uncomfortably within Raphael's chest at this innocent explanation, genuine embarrassment building as he recognized his own unwarranted, jealous reaction to what proved to be entirely innocent circumstances. "I apologize," he said, genuine discomfort evident in his careful words. "That was rather forward of me to demand such information." Isabella studied him carefully, genuine curiosity building at his unusual, uncharacteristic behavior. In 2 years of working together, she had never witnessed Rafael display such obvious, unguarded reaction to anything beyond serious business matters. "Are you feeling quite all right, Mr. Torres?" she asked, genuine concern evident beneath her continued amusement. "Perfectly fine," Rafael said quickly, though his continued discomfort suggested otherwise. "Please continue with your morning duties." Isabella nodded slowly, though genuine curiosity remained evident as she moved toward her desk, carefully arranging the beautiful bouquet in a vase she kept specifically for such occasions. She had grown genuinely fond of her demanding but generally fair employer throughout their 2 years working together, appreciating his considerable intelligence and unexpected moments of genuine consideration, despite his necessarily dangerous, guarded profession. Throughout that morning, Rafael found himself genuinely unable to properly focus on his usual demanding schedule, his attention repeatedly drifting toward Isabella's desk, toward the beautiful flowers that had unexpectedly triggered such an intense, unwarranted reaction within his carefully controlled composure. By early afternoon, genuine frustration building at his own inability to properly understand this unprecedented reaction. Rafael finally summoned Isabella into his private office for what he initially framed as routine business discussion. "You wanted to see me?" Isabella asked, entering his office with her usual professional efficiency, notebook prepared for whatever business matters typically required their private discussion. "Yes," Rafael said, though genuine uncertainty was evident beneath his attempted composed tone. "Please close the door behind you." Isabella complied, genuine curiosity building at his unusually serious demeanor. As she settled into her usual chair across from his desk, Rafael found himself standing abruptly, moving toward the door himself and quietly securing the lock. Genuine deliberation evident in his careful movement. "Mr. Torres?" Isabella asked, genuine confusion evident at this unusual precaution. "Is everything all right?" Rafael turned to face her, genuine vulnerability evident beneath his usually controlled expression, considerably more exposed than Isabella had ever witnessed throughout their entire working relationship. "I locked the door simply to ensure we won't be interrupted," he explained carefully. What I need to discuss requires genuine privacy, and I'd prefer our staff not overhear this particular conversation, given its considerably personal nature. Isabella felt genuine curiosity mixing with growing unease at his obvious seriousness. What exactly do you need to discuss? Raphael took a steadying breath, genuine internal conflict evident as he processed exactly how to properly articulate feelings he'd carefully guarded throughout their considerable time working together. This morning's reaction regarding your flowers, he began carefully. It wasn't simply idle curiosity. I've been struggling with feelings I haven't properly acknowledged, even to myself. For considerable time now, genuine surprise flooded through Isabella's expression as she processed this unexpected admission. What kind of feelings, Mr. Torres? Raphael, he corrected gently, genuine sincerity evident in his careful tone. Please, given what I'm about to properly explain. Formal address seems rather unnecessary, Isabella nodded slowly. Genuine anticipation building, despite her obvious uncertainty about exactly where this unprecedented conversation was heading. These past 2 years, Raphael continued, genuine vulnerability evident beneath his careful words, working alongside you daily. I've come to genuinely value your presence in ways I hadn't properly acknowledged until witnessing my own unexpected jealous reaction this morning. Your intelligence, your genuine warmth despite the considerable danger surrounding my world. Your unwavering professional dedication combined with authentic kindness. These qualities have gradually captured my genuine admiration far beyond simple professional appreciation. Isabella felt her heart racing as she processed his sincere, unexpected confession. Raphael, I honestly don't know what to say. You needn't respond immediately, Raphael said quickly, genuine understanding evident despite his obvious vulnerability. I simply felt compelled to properly acknowledge these feelings, particularly after this morning's reaction revealed exactly how genuinely significant you've become to me. Considerably beyond simple professional working relationship, Isabella studied him carefully, genuine warmth building, despite her obvious surprise at this unprecedented heartfelt admission. I've genuinely valued our working relationship these past 2 years, she said carefully, choosing her words with genuine thoughtfulness. Though I confess I hadn't properly considered romantic possibility, given both your position and the considerable complications such feelings might create. I understand those legitimate concerns completely, Raphael said sincerely. I don't expect immediate reciprocation, Isabella. I simply needed to properly express genuine feelings I've carefully guarded for considerable time, particularly given how thoroughly this morning's unexpected jealousy revealed their genuine significance. As their unprecedented conversation continued, both processing this significant shift in their previously professional relationship, neither Isabella nor Raphael could have anticipated exactly how dramatically this honest confession would transform not just their working relationship, but the considerable, dangerous complications that would soon test whatever genuine connection might develop between them. Isabella sat quietly for several moments, processing the weight of Raphael's unexpected admission, genuine curiosity building despite her lingering surprise. Tell me, she said finally, when exactly did these feelings first develop? I confess, I never noticed any indication throughout our considerable time working together. Raphael considered her question carefully, genuine thoughtfulness evident as he processed exactly how honestly to answer. I've asked myself that same question repeatedly since this morning, he admitted. Though if I'm genuinely honest, I believe it began considerably earlier than I properly allowed myself to acknowledge. Please explain, Isabella said gently, genuine interest evident in her careful attention. Do you remember approximately 8 months ago, Raphael began, when my organization faced that serious threat from the Moretti family, and you remained working late into the night, ensuring every necessary document was properly prepared despite the genuine danger surrounding our offices that particular week? I remember, Isabella confirmed, genuine curiosity building about where this explanation was heading. I watched you that night, Raphael continued, genuine vulnerability evident in his careful words, working diligently despite obvious exhaustion, despite genuine danger surrounding us both, and I found myself genuinely moved by your quiet, unwavering dedication. Not simply professional competence, though that certainly impressed me considerably, but genuine courage and loyalty that extended well beyond what your position typically required. Isabella felt genuine warmth building at this unexpected revelation. I had no idea you noticed that particular evening so specifically. I noticed considerably more than I properly acknowledged, even to myself, Raphael admitted honestly. Your genuine kindness toward our other staff members, your careful attention to details others typically overlooked, your unwavering integrity despite working within an organization that often demands considerably less honorable conduct. These qualities gradually genuinely captured my admiration in ways I initially attributed simply to professional appreciation. When did you realize these feelings extended beyond professional admiration? Isabella asked carefully. Raphael considered this question seriously before answering with genuine honesty. Several months ago, when you mentioned considering a position offer from another organization offering considerably higher compensation, he admitted. The genuine panic I experienced at the possibility of losing your presence here, that reaction proved considerably more intense than simple professional concern about losing a skilled assistant typically warrants. Isabella remembered that conversation clearly, though she had genuinely misunderstood Raphael's obvious tension at the time, attributing it simply to practical business concerns rather than personal significance. I ultimately declined that offer, she said softly, though I confess I hadn't properly understood your reaction's genuine significance at the time. I'm genuinely grateful you declined, Raphael said sincerely. Though I recognize now I should have properly addressed my feelings considerably sooner, rather than allowing this morning's unexpected jealousy to finally force genuine acknowledgement. Isabella studied him carefully, genuine warmth building steadily as she processed this heartfelt, honest explanation. I appreciate your honesty, Raphael, she said sincerely. Though I confess I need proper time to genuinely consider what this admission might mean, given both your position and the considerable complications such feelings could create within our working relationship. I understand completely, Raphael said, genuine respect evident in his careful response. I don't wish to pressure you toward any particular response. I simply needed to properly express genuine feelings I've carefully guarded for considerable time. Can I ask you something directly? Isabella said, genuine curiosity evident in her careful question. Of course, Raphael confirmed. Given your dangerous profession, given the considerable risks inherent in your world, why choose now to properly express these feelings? Isabella asked. What's changed that's made you finally willing to risk such vulnerability? Raphael considered this thoughtful question seriously before answering with genuine sincerity. I've spent considerable years believing genuine emotional vulnerability represented dangerous weakness within my particular profession, he admitted honestly. Loving someone genuinely creates vulnerability my enemies could potentially exploit, and I've carefully avoided exactly that kind of exposure throughout my adult life. What's changed? Isabella pressed gently. This morning, Raphael said, genuine vulnerability evident in his careful words, witnessing my own unexpected, uncontrolled jealous reaction to something as innocent as flowers from your sister. I finally recognized that I'd already developed exactly the kind of genuine vulnerability I've spent years carefully avoiding, regardless of my conscious efforts otherwise. Continuing to hide these feelings wouldn't properly protect either of us from that existing vulnerability. It would simply prevent us both from potentially experiencing genuine happiness. Genuine understanding flooded through Isabella's expression at this heartfelt explanation. "That's remarkably brave," she said softly, "choosing honesty despite considerable risk, rather than continuing to hide behind careful emotional distance. I'm genuinely uncertain if it's bravery or simply exhaustion from years of unnecessary emotional isolation," Raphael admitted honestly, genuine vulnerability evident in his careful words. Though regardless of proper categorization, I felt compelled toward genuine honesty, particularly with someone who has shown me such consistent, authentic integrity throughout our considerable time working together. Isabella considered his sincere words carefully, genuine warmth building steadily, despite her continued uncertainty about properly navigating this unexpected romantic possibility. "I need time," she said finally, genuine honesty evident in her careful response. "Not because I don't genuinely value what you've shared, but because this represents considerable, significant change to our established relationship." "Take whatever time you require," Raphael said sincerely. "I won't pressure you toward any particular timeline or response." As their significant conversation gradually concluded, Raphael carefully unlocked his office door, genuine respect evident in his careful consideration of Isabella's need for proper space to process this unexpected revelation. "Thank you for listening," he said sincerely, "and for your patience regarding my rather unprecedented, admittedly awkward confession." Isabella offered a genuine, warm smile despite her continued uncertainty. "Thank you for your honesty," she said sincerely. "Regardless of where this conversation ultimately leads, I genuinely appreciate your courage in properly sharing these feelings." As Isabella departed his office, genuine reflection building about this unexpected, significant shift in their previously professional relationship, Raphael remained behind. Genuine hope building, despite his obvious uncertainty about how properly Isabella might ultimately respond to his heartfelt confession. Meanwhile, unknown to either of them, their extended private conversation had already attracted curious attention from several staff members, whispered speculation building throughout the office regarding exactly what significant matter had required such considerable privacy between their typically professional employer and his trusted assistant Marco. Raphael's head of security watched this developing situation with genuine concern, understanding intuitively that his employer's unprecedented emotional vulnerability, however genuine and heartfelt, potentially represented exactly the kind of exploitable weakness their organization's considerable enemies might eventually attempt leveraging against them. A full week passed following Raphael's unexpected confession, both he and Isabella navigating their professional relationship with careful, deliberate consideration despite the obvious tension underlying their usual daily interactions. Isabella had requested proper time to process his heartfelt admission, and Raphael, despite his own genuine impatience, respected her need for careful consideration. "You seem different lately," Isabella's close friend Sophia observed during their regular lunch meeting, genuine curiosity evident in her thoughtful expression. "More distracted than usual." Isabella considered how honestly to explain her current, complicated circumstances. "My employer confessed romantic feelings toward me last week," she admitted finally, genuine uncertainty evident in her careful explanation. Sophia's eyes widened considerably at this unexpected revelation. "Rafael Torres, the Mafia Boss you've worked for these past 2 years." "The very same," Isabella confirmed, genuine complexity evident in her tired expression. "What did you tell him?" Sophia asked, genuine curiosity building. "I asked for time to properly consider everything," Isabella admitted, "given both his position and the considerable danger inherent in his world. I genuinely need to understand whether pursuing such feelings represents wisdom or genuine foolishness." "How do you actually feel about him?" Sophia asked directly, genuine perceptiveness evident in her careful question. Isabella considered this honest question seriously before answering. "I've genuinely valued our working relationship these past 2 years," she said slowly. He's proven considerably more thoughtful and honorable than his dangerous reputation might initially suggest. I won't deny genuine attraction exists, though I remain uncertain whether pursuing romantic connection with someone in his position represents wise judgment. Sometimes wisdom and genuine happiness don't necessarily align perfectly, Sophia observed thoughtfully. Only you can properly determine whether the potential risk feels worthwhile given your own genuine feelings. As Isabella continued processing this significant decision throughout the following days, Raphael maintained careful, respectful distance, allowing her genuine space while continuing their necessary professional interactions with practiced, controlled composure, despite his obvious underlying anticipation regarding her eventual response. On the 10th day, following his confession, Isabella finally approached Raphael's office with genuine determination. Having carefully considered every aspect of this significant decision throughout her extended reflection, "May I speak with you?" she asked, genuine seriousness evident in her careful request. "Of course," Raphael said, genuine hope evident beneath his attempted controlled composure as he gestured toward her usual chair. Isabella settled carefully, genuine thoughtfulness evident as she prepared to properly articulate her considered response. "I've spent considerable time reflecting on everything you shared," she began carefully. "Your honesty, your genuine vulnerability, despite your dangerous profession's typical expectations, these qualities have genuinely impressed me throughout this reflection period." "And your conclusion?" Raphael asked carefully, genuine anticipation evident despite his controlled tone. "I'm willing to explore this connection," Isabella said finally, genuine sincerity evident in her careful words, "though I believe we should proceed with considerable caution, given the genuine complications your world inevitably creates." Genuine relief and joy flooded through Raphael's controlled expression at this welcome response. "I completely understand and respect that caution," he said sincerely. "I don't expect immediate dramatic transformation. I simply hoped for the genuine opportunity to properly explore whatever connection might develop between us." Over the following weeks, Raphael and Isabella began carefully navigating this significant transition, their professional relationship gradually incorporating genuine personal connection through careful, deliberate steps. They began sharing occasional dinners together, genuine conversation deepening beyond simple business matters into considerably more personal territory. "I never properly asked about your family," Raphael said one evening, as they shared a quiet dinner at a discreet restaurant away from his usual public visibility. "Beyond your sister who sent those flowers, I mean. My parents passed away when I was in my early 20s, Isabella explained. "My sister and I remain quite close, though she lives considerably far away now, managing her own family in Portland." "That sounds genuinely difficult," Raphael said sincerely, "losing both parents so relatively young." "It was," Isabella admitted honestly, "though it also taught me genuine resilience and independence I might not have developed otherwise." The conversation continued deepening throughout the evening, both discovering genuine comfort in sharing increasingly personal history, despite the considerable complications surrounding their unconventional, developing relationship. Meanwhile, Marco's earlier concerns regarding Raphael's unprecedented emotional vulnerability had solidified into genuine, active investigation. He began quietly monitoring the developing relationship between his employer and Isabella, genuine worry building about potential security implications given their organization's considerable ongoing rivalries. "Sir," Marco said carefully during a private meeting with Raphael, "I understand your personal happiness matters considerably, though I feel compelled to properly express genuine concern regarding potential security implications given your developing relationship with Miss Cruz." Raphael's expression carried genuine seriousness at this legitimate professional concern. "What specifically worries you?" "Our organization maintains considerable enemies," Marco explained carefully, individuals who would genuinely welcome any exploitable vulnerability within your typically guarded composure. Your obvious growing attachment to Miss Cruz represents exactly that kind of potential weakness. Should our rivals properly recognize its genuine significance? I understand that legitimate concern, Raphael acknowledged seriously. Though I won't sacrifice genuine happiness simply out of theoretical, precautionary fear. What specific measures would you suggest to properly address this potential vulnerability? Increase security around Miss Cruz specifically, Marco suggested carefully. Discreet but thorough protection, ensuring our rivals cannot easily exploit her significance to you, should they become genuinely aware of your developing relationship. Raphael considered this reasonable suggestion carefully. Implement whatever precautions you believe genuinely necessary, he instructed firmly, though I want this protection handled with absolute discretion. I don't wish to alarm Isabella unnecessarily, particularly given how carefully she's already navigating her own uncertainty regarding our developing connection. As Marco departed to implement these careful security measures, Raphael found himself reflecting seriously on the genuine complexity his newfound happiness had introduced into his previously carefully controlled, isolated existence. He recognized clearly that pursuing genuine connection with Isabella meant accepting real, legitimate risk. Though he found himself genuinely unwilling to sacrifice authentic happiness simply to maintain his previous, careful emotional isolation, that same evening, unaware of Marco's quiet security precautions now being carefully implemented around her, Isabella walked home from her regular evening yoga class, genuine happiness evident in her thoughtful reflection about her developing relationship with Raphael, entirely unaware that their growing connection had already attracted considerably more dangerous attention than either of them yet properly understood. Across the city, Dominic Castellano, leader of a rival organization that had long sought opportunities to challenge Raphael's considerable territorial influence, received intriguing intelligence regarding his rival's unprecedented, uncharacteristic emotional vulnerability. Torres has developed genuine attachment to his assistant, Dominic's informant reported during a private meeting. Regular dinners, increased security around her specifically, considerable behavioral change suggesting genuine romantic significance. Dominic considered this valuable information carefully, genuine calculation building behind his sharp, assessing expression. This represents precisely the kind of opportunity I've been searching for, he said thoughtfully. Torres has always maintained careful, impenetrable emotional distance throughout his considerable career. If he's genuinely developed vulnerability through this relationship, she represents exactly the leverage necessary to finally challenge his previously unquestionable territorial dominance. Dominic Castellano's investigation into Isabella Cruz progressed methodically over the following 2 weeks. His carefully hired investigators uncovering considerable detail about her daily routine, her modest apartment, and her close relationship with her sister in Portland. She's genuinely just Torres's assistant, his lead investigator reported during a private meeting within Dominic's headquarters. No connections to organized crime whatsoever. Simply an ordinary woman who's apparently captured her employer's genuine affection. That ordinary quality is precisely what makes her valuable, Dominic said, genuine calculation evident in his careful assessment. Torres has spent his entire career maintaining absolute emotional control, never allowing personal attachment to interfere with his strategic decision-making. If he's genuinely vulnerable through this relationship, she represents exactly the leverage I've needed. What specifically are you planning? His lieutenant asked carefully. Nothing immediate, Dominic said thoughtfully. I want considerable patience regarding this opportunity. Rushing toward action risks alerting Torres before we're properly prepared to exploit this vulnerability effectively. Meanwhile, entirely unaware of Dominic's calculated interest, Raphael and Isabella's relationship continued deepening steadily, their careful, deliberate approach gradually building genuine trust and comfort between them. 3 weeks after Isabella's initial agreement to explore their connection, Raphael found himself increasingly confident about their growing bond. "I want to properly introduce you to my mother," Raphael said one evening, genuine nervousness evident beneath his usual controlled composure. "She's been asking considerable questions given my noticeably improved mood these past several weeks." Isabella felt genuine warmth at this meaningful request, though nervousness also evident in her careful response. "I'd like that," she said sincerely, "though I confess meeting your family feels like a considerably significant step." "It is," Raphael acknowledged honestly, "though I find myself genuinely wanting to properly share this happiness with the people who matter most to me." The following weekend, Isabella met Elena Torres, Raphael's mother, during a carefully arranged family dinner. Elena, a warm, perceptive woman in her early 60s, studied Isabella carefully throughout their initial introduction, genuine curiosity evident in her thoughtful assessment. "My son has spoken considerably about you," Elena said warmly, genuine kindness evident in her careful welcome. "I haven't witnessed him this genuinely happy in considerable years." "He's spoken very fondly of you as well," Isabella said sincerely, genuine warmth building despite her initial nervousness. Throughout their dinner conversation, Elena's careful questions revealed genuine interest in properly understanding Isabella's character and values, rather than simple, superficial curiosity. "What drew you toward working within Raphael's organization initially?" she asked thoughtfully. "Practical necessity, if I'm entirely honest," Isabella admitted, "though I've genuinely come to respect the careful, principled way your son manages his organization's affairs. Despite the inherently difficult nature of his profession," Elena studied her carefully, genuine approval evident in her warm expression. "You speak honestly without unnecessary flattery," she observed. "That quality matters considerably within our particular world, where genuine sincerity often proves rare." As their evening progressed, Isabella found herself genuinely grateful for Elena's warm acceptance, understanding clearly the significance of her approval, given Raphael's obvious close relationship with his mother throughout his complicated, dangerous life. "She genuinely likes you," Raphael observed later that evening, as he walked Isabella toward her waiting car. "That matters considerably to me, given how much her opinion has always meant throughout my life." "I'm genuinely grateful for her warm welcome," Isabella said sincerely. "This evening has shown me another meaningful dimension of who you actually are, beyond simply your professional reputation." Their growing connection continued deepening over the following weeks, both increasingly confident about building genuine, lasting partnership despite the considerable complications inherent in Raphael's dangerous world. Neither of them remained aware, however, that Dominic's patient, calculated investigation had progressed considerably during this same period. "I have comprehensive intelligence now," Dominic's lead investigator reported during another private meeting. Her daily schedule, her regular locations, even details regarding Torres's recently implemented security measures around her specifically. Dominic studied this comprehensive information carefully, genuine satisfaction evident in his calculating expression. "This provides exactly the foundation necessary for properly executing our strategy," he said thoughtfully. "Though I want absolute certainty regarding Torres's genuine emotional investment before proceeding further. A miscalculation here could prove genuinely costly. How do you intend to properly confirm that certainty?" his lieutenant asked. "A carefully calculated test," Dominic said, genuine dangerous calculation evident in his careful planning. "Something that will clearly reveal exactly how far Torres is willing to go to protect her, without yet fully exposing our organization's direct involvement." 2 days later, Isabella received an unusual anonymous delivery at her apartment. A single, wilted black rose accompanied by a brief, unsigned note reading simply, We know who matters most to Rafael Torres. Genuine unease building rapidly, Isabella immediately contacted Rafael, her voice carrying obvious distress as she explained this troubling, threatening delivery. Rafael's reaction proved immediate and intense. Genuine alarm evident beneath his usual controlled composure as he processed this clear, deliberate threat against Isabella's safety. "I'm coming to you immediately," he said firmly. "Don't leave your apartment until I arrive." Within 30 minutes, Rafael arrived at Isabella's apartment, accompanied by Marco and several additional security personnel. Genuine urgency evident in their coordinated response. "Show me exactly what was delivered," Rafael instructed. Genuine controlled fury evident beneath his careful composure. Isabella presented the wilted rose and threatening note. Genuine fear evident despite her attempts at maintaining composure. Marco examined both items carefully, genuine professional focus evident in his careful assessment. "This appears deliberately calculated," Marco observed grimly. "Someone wants us to understand clearly that they're aware of your relationship, without yet revealing their specific identity or ultimate intentions. Who would do this?" Isabella asked, genuine fear evident in her trembling voice. Rafael's expression carried genuine cold calculation as he considered various possibilities. "I have several potential enemies who might consider this kind of provocative action," he said grimly. "Though this specific approach, calculated intimidation rather than direct action, suggests someone testing our reaction before proceeding further." "What do we do now?" Isabella asked, genuine uncertainty evident despite her obvious attempt at maintaining composure. "You're not staying here alone tonight," Rafael said firmly, genuine protective determination evident in his controlled voice. "I want you at my estate, under proper comprehensive security, until we've identified exactly who's responsible for this threatening provocation." As Marco coordinated Isabella's careful, secure transport toward Rafael's heavily protected estate, Rafael remained close beside her. Genuine determination evident in his expression regarding exactly how thoroughly he intended to identify and address whoever had dared threaten the woman who had finally shown him genuine, unconditional happiness after years of careful emotional isolation. Isabella settled uneasily into her temporary quarters within Rafael's heavily secured estate. Genuine gratitude for his protection, mixing with lingering unease about the mysterious threat that had disrupted her previously peaceful life. Marco's investigation into the anonymous delivery had proceeded urgently throughout the following days, though definitive answers remained frustratingly elusive. "We've traced the delivery service used," Marco reported during a tense strategic meeting, though whoever arranged this delivery paid considerable extra funds specifically to ensure their identity remained properly concealed. That level of careful preparation suggests genuine organizational resources, Rafael observed grimly, rather than simple, opportunistic threat. As Marco's investigation continued, another development emerged that would prove considerably more significant than either Rafael or Isabella anticipated. While reviewing Isabella's background as part of comprehensive security protocol, Marco's team uncovered a detail from her past that Isabella herself had never properly shared with Rafael. "Sir," Marco said carefully during a private meeting, genuine hesitation evident in his careful approach. "Our background investigation revealed something you should probably know before proceeding further with this relationship." Rafael's expression carried genuine concern at Marco's obvious hesitation. "What exactly did you discover?" "Isabella's father," Marco explained carefully, "wasn't simply an ordinary businessman who passed away, as she's apparently led you to believe. He was actually involved with the Delacroix organization, a smaller criminal enterprise that operated primarily in financial fraud before being dismantled by federal authorities nearly 15 years. Genuine shock flooded through Rafael's expression at this unexpected revelation. Isabella's father was involved in organized crime, According to our records, yes, Marco confirmed. Though it appears Isabella herself remained genuinely unaware of her father's criminal activities during her childhood, discovering the truth only after his arrest and subsequent conviction when she was 17 years old. Raphael absorbed this troubling information carefully, genuine complexity evident in his thoughtful expression. This explains considerably why Dominic specifically targeted her, he said slowly. If he somehow connected this history to their organization's interests, he might believe this connection provides additional leverage beyond simply her significance to me personally. That's precisely my concern, Marco confirmed. I believe we need to properly discuss this discovery with Isabella directly, ensuring she understands we're aware of this history before it potentially resurfaces through less controlled circumstances. That evening, Raphael approached Isabella carefully, genuine sensitivity evident in his careful consideration of how properly to address this delicate discovery. I need to discuss something important, he said gently, settling beside her in the estate's quiet garden. What is it? Isabella asked, genuine curiosity mixing with underlying anxiety given recent, troubling circumstances. Marco's investigation uncovered information about your father, Raphael said carefully, watching her reaction with genuine sensitivity. His involvement with the Delacroix organization before his arrest when you were 17. Isabella's expression shifted immediately to genuine distress, memories of that painful period clearly resurfacing despite years of careful avoidance. I haven't discussed that period of my life with anyone in considerable years, she admitted quietly, genuine vulnerability evident in her careful words. I understand this represents difficult, painful history, Raphael said gently. I'm not asking you to discuss it because I judge you based on your father's choices. I need to understand this properly because it might connect to why Dominic specifically targeted you. Isabella considered this explanation carefully, genuine understanding building despite her obvious discomfort. My father's arrest devastated our family, she said slowly, genuine pain evident in her careful explanation. I genuinely believed he simply worked in finance, never understanding the fraudulent nature of his actual business dealings until federal agents arrived at our home. That must have been genuinely traumatic, Raphael said sincerely, genuine compassion evident in his careful response. It was, Isabella confirmed, which is precisely why I've avoided discussing that period throughout my adult life. I've worked considerably hard, building an honest, legitimate career, genuinely wanting to distance myself completely from whatever criminal associations my father's choices created. I understand that motivation completely, Raphael said gently, though I need you to understand something important. This history doesn't change how I genuinely feel about you, Isabella. You're not responsible for choices your father made before you even properly understood their criminal nature. Genuine relief flooded through Isabella's expression at his sincere reassurance. Thank you for understanding that distinction, she said softly. Though I confess, genuine fear remains about how this history might now be used against both of us. Given Dominic's apparent interest, we'll properly address whatever danger this connection creates, Raphael said firmly, genuine determination evident in his protective tone. I won't allow your father's past choices to become weapons used against your safety or happiness. Meanwhile, Dominic's investigation had indeed uncovered this same connection, genuine excitement building at this unexpected, valuable discovery. Her father's Delacroix connection provides considerably more leverage than I initially anticipated, he told his lieutenant during a private strategic meeting. If properly utilized, this history could create genuine complications beyond simple romantic vulnerability. How specifically do you intend to exploit this information? His lieutenant asked carefully. I have contacts who maintained connections to the Delacroix organization's remaining associates, Dominic explained, genuine calculation evident in his careful planning. Some of these individuals harbor considerable resentment toward Isabella specifically, believing her father's cooperation with federal authorities during his trial contributed toward their organization's complete downfall. "You're suggesting we might coordinate with these individuals?" his lieutenant asked. "Genuine understanding building." "Precisely," Dominic confirmed. "If we can properly convince them, Isabella represents an opportunity for genuine revenge against her father's perceived betrayal. We accomplish two valuable objectives simultaneously: weakening Torres through his personal vulnerability, while avoiding direct connection to whatever action these vengeful associates might choose to pursue." As Dominic's dangerous conspiracy expanded to include these vengeful, unpredictable elements, Raphael and Isabella remained genuinely unaware of exactly how significantly their situation's danger had just escalated. Believing themselves primarily concerned with identifying Dominic's organization alone, rather than the additional volatile threat now building from entirely unexpected historical connections neither had properly anticipated. 10 days after the threatening rose delivery, Dominic's dangerous conspiracy finally moved into direct action. He had successfully connected with two former Delacroix organization associates, men named Frank Kowalski and Victor Alves, who harbored genuine, considerable resentment toward Isabella's late father for his cooperation with federal prosecutors years earlier. "She's living proof her father chose, betraying us over loyalty," Kowalski said bitterly during a private meeting Dominic had carefully arranged. 15 years in prison, my entire family's reputation destroyed. All because her father decided saving himself mattered more than protecting the people who'd trusted him. "I understand your considerable resentment completely," Dominic said smoothly, genuine manipulation evident beneath his careful, sympathetic tone. "Which is precisely why I believe you deserve the opportunity for proper resolution regarding this painful history." "What exactly are you proposing?" Alves asked carefully. "Simply an opportunity," Dominic said calculatingly. "Isabella Cruz currently resides under Rafael Torres's protection, given their developing romantic relationship. If you were to properly demonstrate to Torres exactly how vulnerable his happiness remains, perhaps through directly confronting Isabella regarding her father's betrayal, you'd achieve genuine personal satisfaction while simultaneously weakening my organization's most significant rival." Kowalski and Alves exchanged calculating glances, genuine interest evident, despite their obvious wariness regarding Dominic's transparent manipulation. "What kind of support would you provide for this operation?" Kowalski asked. "Resources, information regarding security patterns, safe transportation," Dominic offered generously. "Everything necessary to properly access her despite Torres's protective measures, in exchange for simply ensuring my organization's complete distance from whatever consequences your personal vendetta might create." After careful consideration, both men agreed to Dominic's calculated proposal, genuine desire for personal revenge overriding whatever legitimate caution their considerable experience should have properly encouraged. 2 nights later, while Isabella walked through Raphael's estate gardens during a rare, brief moment of solitude, Kowalski and Alves successfully breached the property's perimeter security. Having utilized detailed intelligence Dominic's organization had carefully provided regarding patrol patterns and vulnerable access points. "Isabella Cruz," Kowalski said, emerging from the shadows with Alves close behind him. Genuine menace evident in his cold, calculating approach. Isabella froze immediately, genuine terror flooding through her chest as she recognized the obvious danger these unfamiliar men represented. "Who are you?" she demanded, though her voice carried obvious, trembling fear. "Someone your father betrayed considerably," Kowalski said coldly. 15 years ago, his cooperation with federal prosecutors destroyed my entire life. I've waited considerable time for genuine opportunity to properly address that devastating betrayal. Genuine panic building rapidly. Isabella attempted to retreat toward the estate's main building, though Alves moved quickly, blocking her escape route with practiced, Threatening efficiency. There's nowhere to properly run, Alves said coldly. Torres's security remains considerably occupied elsewhere at the moment, thanks to some rather convenient distractions we've arranged, as Isabella's desperate situation intensified. Her security detail, having been genuinely misdirected by carefully orchestrated diversions elsewhere on the property, remained unaware of the immediate danger unfolding within the garden. Fortunately, Raphael himself had been searching for Isabella, genuine unease building when he couldn't immediately locate her within the estate's main areas. As he approached the garden entrance, he heard raised, threatening voices, immediately recognizing genuine danger despite his initial confusion about its specific source. "Isabella!" he shouted urgently, rushing forward with genuine alarm evident in his rapid approach. Kowalski and Alves turned sharply at Raphael's unexpected arrival, genuine surprise evident despite their attempted composed threat. "Torres," Kowalski said, genuine calculation evident beneath his obvious tension. "We simply wanted proper conversation with Miss Cruz regarding her father's considerable betrayal." "Get away from her," Raphael commanded firmly. Genuine, dangerous authority evident despite his obvious concern for Isabella's immediate safety. "This doesn't concern you specifically," Alves said, though genuine uncertainty was becoming increasingly evident given Raphael's clearly superior position and obvious fury. Raphael's security team, alerted by his urgent shouting, arrived within moments, quickly surrounding both intruders with overwhelming decisive force. Kowalski and Alves, recognizing the complete collapse of their dangerous plan, attempted brief resistance before ultimately surrendering given their clearly compromised position. Raphael rushed immediately toward Isabella, genuine relief flooding through his controlled composure as he confirmed her safety. "Are you hurt?" he asked urgently, careful examination evident in his protective assessment. "I'm okay," Isabella said, though her voice carried obvious lingering terror. Frightened, but genuinely unharmed, as Marco's security team properly secured both intruders for urgent, thorough questioning, Raphael remained close beside Isabella, genuine protective determination evident in his expression. "Who are these men?" he demanded, though genuine understanding was already building given their explicit mention of her father's history. Through subsequent, careful interrogation, Marco's team quickly extracted the complete truth regarding Dominic's calculated manipulation, connecting this dangerous attack directly back toward his rival organization's careful, patient conspiracy. Dominic Castellano orchestrated this entire operation, Marco reported grimly during an urgent strategic briefing following the intruder's capture. He specifically recruited these men, exploiting their genuine grievances regarding Isabella's father's historical betrayal, to accomplish his own strategic objectives against your organization. Raphael's expression carried genuine cold fury as he processed this confirmation. Dominic believed he could exploit Isabella's vulnerability to weaken my position, he said grimly. He's genuinely underestimated exactly how far I'm prepared to go to protect what matters most to me. "What are your instructions moving forward?" Marco asked carefully. "I want comprehensive evidence properly compiled regarding Dominic's involvement," Raphael said firmly, genuine determination evident in his controlled voice. "This attack against Isabella represents unacceptable escalation that demands proper, decisive consequence." As Raphael's organization began coordinating their response to this dangerous provocation, Isabella found herself genuinely grateful for Raphael's protective determination, though considerable complicated emotion remained regarding her father's resurfaced history and its unexpected, dangerous consequences within her present circumstances. "I'm genuinely sorry," Raphael said quietly later that evening, as they sat together, processing the day's frightening events. "This danger connects directly to my dangerous world, to enemies who would exploit anything, including painful history entirely beyond your control, simply to weaken my position. This isn't your fault, Isabella said firmly, despite her obvious lingering fear. Dominic's calculated cruelty, exploiting genuine grievances for his own strategic advantage, that responsibility belongs entirely to him. As Raphael's organization prepared their decisive response toward Dominic's dangerous conspiracy, both he and Isabella understood clearly that this frightening confrontation demanded proper, complete resolution before genuine safety and happiness could be fully restored to their carefully building relationship.